So the top amount of streak you can get to in the arena is 9 wins in a row, and of course if you lose those 3 in a row there, then your streak ends and you get your rewards. So a warrior deck's not to go next. It's always a worthy opponent. I really want it to land on one of the other. Oh, we've got another warrior. That's actually quite good, because we can compare and contrast what Crips here has actually managed to pick for himself. So I think this is fairly obvious. I could trade all 3 of these in. Frostnova will slow them down, but it won't actually let me get anything out early. I'm going to fully mulligan my hand and let's see what happens here. Good evening to whoever's joined us. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Hearthstone Half Hour. I'm Hammy, and I'm doing this for Failcraft.org, and we're enjoying just a little bit of arena as Mage at the moment, and the current streak I'm not really on is 1-1, where we're trying a bit of a funny Mage deck with a lot of spell casting in. And my lovely first hand, Polly, early, nice. I got Frostnova back that I traded away. So, nothing for me first turn. So, for those of you who have just tuned in, we had a warrior deck that we beat last game. We went behind quite early on, and in the late game he suddenly ran out of cards. We kept the trade of the minions going, so he never got a massive minion lead on the table. And when it got to the later game, we found ourselves just quite able to keep the control, start stacking minions on the board, doing damage, and as he was drawing stuff we were just picking it off. So, luck of the draw perhaps, absolutely. It's a card game, there's always going to be a bit of that. But also controlling the table as much as we could was pretty important. Flame Strike, we also drew just when we needed it as well, so a little bit of luck, always appreciated. Do pardon me in the Hearthstone selector at the beginning of the game, so I'm a mouth and nose breather at the moment, mainly because I've got a bit of a cold, so apologies for the nasalness as well. So we're 2 turns in, I've gone first and we're just waiting for our warrior to react. Sorcerer's Apprentice, fab card for spells costing 1 less, 3 attack, 2 health, 2 mana, cost efficient, good for early game trades. You generally, if you want to try and stack a few of these up, you don't want it to die too quickly. So dropping it straight up on a turn 2 is not really something I'd want to do, but didn't have too many options here. Coming into turn 3, you just noticed that our opponent is armoured up, so he's really lacking his turn 1, turn 2 cards, or he's got something very nasty there for 3 mana. I'm guessing it's probably going to be him lacking a few first turn cards. There's nothing for me to poly, nothing for me to freeze, zapping nothing. You know what, I may as well just get my raid leader down and swinging away for 4-2 to start with. So quite a nice start so far, but this game is very, very quick. Things can change very quickly. And all it takes is a top deck of a card and a good combo, and someone can be back in the game. Indeed, we saw that with me last game. So let's see how it goes. For those of you tuning in, you should absolutely, if you're on Twitch, or if you're not on Twitch, you should sign in. Sign up. It means you can get involved in the chat, ask questions, and just get a bit of banter going, and don't leave me on my own. Don't leave me hanging. For those of you on YouTube, thanks very much for tuning in here, and you can find us on Twitch at Failcraftcast, twitch.tv/Failcraftcast. We are going to be trying to cast every single evening, either for a Hearthstone Half Hour or a Hearthstone Hour, depending on how much time we have. Straight back to the game, turn 4. He's got down his Ironfur Grizzly. That's a nice little 3 mana summon, good health, good attack, taunt, so he's bought himself a turn there and given me something to deal with as well. A polymorph would probably be slightly overkill at this point in time. I could freeze him, I could do a damage and then trade away for my raid leader, but I'd like to keep the raid leader for the 1-1 attack for all my other minions on the table. The 1 mana less for my spells is nice as well. If I really want to go aggro early on, I'm going to go very aggro. This is the only poly I have in my deck. Generally, using it on probably a more powerful late game minion would probably be a smart idea. That's the most mana efficient way to use it. But I've decided that I'm going to go at him from the off. Get rid of his tank and keep swinging. The coin, if you've not seen it before, always goes to the upgrade. If you have a weapon, give it 1/1. And he's taken away my raid leader. So he's got himself back on the table, and then of course the Enrage ability has kicked in there. Sorry, not Enrage. Young Priestess has given him a random extra health at the end of the turn. So for me, clearing the deck, he's now suddenly got himself back into it, and my poly could have probably gone on that chap there instead. Not to worry. Cane of Cold for a mere 2 mana will let me stall for a turn, and also get rid of that Priestess, adding additional health. So that could be quite a smart move. Violet Teacher doesn't feel like the time for it, and the Defender of Argus, I could set it up as a taunting tank, but then there would just be a direct trade between the Worgen most likely next turn. This is a little bit of a stall play. It buys me a bit of time, and it also means this guy's enraged and has Wind Fury. He's not going to be able to attack till next go. I may as well drop the extra on him. I don't particularly want to trade. Or I could just trade him off the table. That means that I lose my extra spell power. I've wasted that. Might have been a misplay there with that zap. I can still deal with it next turn. Indecision. Extra 3 damage on him. I think that actually just keeping the minions down. So that was actually a waste of 2 mana there for my Fire Blast. Completely unnecessary. We will soon see if that was the right decision or not with what he plays next. I've got a health advantage. The table is even. He's only going to do 1 damage to me with that X anyway. But he's got a couple of tanky types down on the field now, and he can swing at me. So we need to do a bit of dealing here. Get some stuff off the table. I think this feels like a fairly easy play, just to take a few things out and wait to see what happens next. We'll get him frozen down, get my extra apprentice on the table. They're not going to be attacking me this go. He can only do 1 damage there. What I'm really looking for is a tank minion, maybe something a bit more chunky to put on the table. And next go, sorry, not the table, I could drop a Defender of Argus, gives me the 1/1 buff. A bit of tanking with my Violet Teacher. And if I want, I could even Flame Strike if he drops anything too powerful and just clear the board. I do have 3 Flame Strikes in this deck, thanks to a bit of lucky drawing. So I can actually spend that. Get it away. There's plenty of cards left on the table. He has decided to trade away my apprentice, which is fair enough for a 1/1. Stops me from buffing it, so it's not the worst decision in the world. So I was going to Argus. It feels as though I could just clear the table, and although it's an expensive table clear, I could do 3 to the character and freeze. He can only do 1 back to me. This is an alternative option. I could clear with 3. I could zap with 1, but then I'd still have to clear him away. If you've got 3, you may as well use it. Nukage. Lovely. So can get away a little bit more with those big cards in draft, but it all depends if you play against a Murloc deck or something that swarms a lot of cheap minions early on. Flame Strike, by the time that comes in the game, it's just going to be a little bit too late. Stranglethorn Tiger. Stealth. It means that I can't attack him until he attacks me. 2 weapon destroyers there, and 2 pretty powerful minions as well. And that Flame Strike would have been pretty nice right about now. Okay, let's have a think. With 8/8, I can freeze the painful minion. Or can I? No, I can't. It's stealth. You'd be a mistake. So he is untargetable. Can't be attacked or targeted until he's dealt damage. I have no. So do I want to tank and suck him up? Because if I don't, he'll probably trade for my biggest threat next game. The 1/1 will certainly force him to attack the mage, but I won't kill him in one go. I will be able to trade with a zap next go, which is okay. And then if I drop the Warden as extra insurance, He's going to have to try and trade away for the Warden, which keeps my teacher up. Perhaps a little bit of overkill, but it certainly gives me an option or two, and what it also means is that I can get away a trade for that 3 damage as well. Okay, so negated what I could in terms of threats. We've got to wait for that rather nasty tiger chap to attack there. Just wet the old parched throat. This is quite a nasty minion in draft. It just has to damage a minion once and then it dies. So it doesn't matter that it does 2 damage, it just needs to get 1 attack away. If you drop it behind a tank, it can then just start picking off minions at will. So if you drop that epic late game or that huge 10-10, 15-15 minion, 1 hit from Emperor Cobra, and any minion damaged by it is killed. So that can hurt quite a bit. He's dropped another tank. He's still trying to pick my tank away. This has dropped down to 4, meaning that I can pick it off for the cost of 4 mana. That feels like a pretty sensible decision. So let's get that off the table. It will do me most damage from behind the tank. Sen'jin Shieldmaster is just a really solid 4 mana card, particularly with the taunt and the additional health. And I like it in priest decks where you can buff it up and do all sorts of fun things with it as well. I now can't trade for this guy right now. If he wants to trade for me, he's going to have to sort of come at me, bro. A 2-2 squire and some extra ability on the field feels really good as well. So I could try and trade away his tank this guy. This guy will probably stop trying to swing. He can, if he had some sense, he could pick off the Violet Teacher for the most attack damage on the table, because that's one of the 2 tanky minions. That was a bit of an error. A quick piece of thinking means that I can't trade away the Sen'jin Shieldmaster without killing away my Violet Teacher. A little bit of slow play from me there, but on the bright side of things, I'm in a good position. Unless he gets some really nuts cards this go, which could happen. So yeah, he's gone for 1 tank. I would Cobra away the other if I was him. I have a feeling he will probably do that. Is he going to Cobra away my Violet Teacher? Is that the smartest play? Now his minions are coming out. We have a good game on our hands, and he's Cobra'd it away. Makes sense. We've still got his tank on the field as well, and he can also trade away my other guy as well. So this is now looking a little bit painful. Right, a bit of quick maths required. My squire can take out the tank. I can 1-1 and then direct trade for the Chillwind Yeti. That will leave with the Arathi Weaponsmith on the field. The Morg Warden I may as well drop. May as well drop my deckhand. I can trade away for 1-1. I can trade away those 2. That means I still need 2 to trade away the Chillwind Yeti at the end of the day. And I can't fully trade away everything. Brain. Okay, let's get him off the field. Chillwind, I could force to attack me, but it feels as though he'd probably have enough. He will have enough to pop away that tank. I just want to get that Yeti off the field as soon as possible. It feels as though it'll stick around and it's going to hurt. Let's get it away. So I'm in the position where I've tried to keep the field clear. He still has that weapon, but at the end of the day, 5 armor. It's not a bad cheap card to drop. And we can see the differences from the last deck. This has got a lot more. The last deck had a lot more aggro minions in terms of with the ability of if a minion on the field takes damage, gain attack power. Here he's focused a lot more on solid minions and trading. So, what's he going to do? Feels as though he's going to start trading away. Interesting decision. It means that I can get away as most dangerous minion. I have no other options than to drop my Corehound, so that's what we're going to do. I can keep my tank up, trade away as attacking minion, and tap on the table. I think that's what I'm going to do. I can attack for 1. No, I could trade away. I want to force him to attack. Maybe the correct decision might have been to take that Dragon Link. I'm not entirely sure. He can trade it on his turn anyway. Doing it on my advantage might have been a good plan. Oh fuck, a Night Reaper. That is going to do some damage. 10 damage over 2 goes. And with the trade he can start swinging at my Core Hound. Just looks as though that's what he's going to do. Say what? Of course the Core Hound only has 5 health. So now the field advantage is his. I can do 6 with a Fireball. Feels like a bit of a waste to get that 2 minion off the table. But otherwise, okay, if I swing away, I could do 6 to his hero. I feel this is a little bit of a waste. But he'll take another 5 off of me, and then we're still balanced out. But note here now that he has the card advantage, so just by default, it is going to be a little bit painful. He just has more options than I do, and at the end of this draft, that might be what makes the difference. He's dropped his Fury War Axe, so he can still keep swinging. He's got a taunt, and that was free at the time that he played it, which was great. I think that the sensible option here is to force a trade, and he will swing at me a couple of times with that Reaper. So at this moment in time, it's not looking too great for me. I'm up 4 cards behind there, look, in terms of draw. I can't even trade away against his tank. He can keep swinging. In the absence of any other cards, he can keep adding armour. And this is not looking good for me at all. If there was a time to top deck a Flame Strike, it would be now. When you call for something, it's just not arriving. This is a much of a muchness. I think getting rid of the 4 damage minion works out. I think, but it all depends if I can't get past that tank. And he's swinging for 6-10 this go. So this could be over in 2 goes. Crips, it's looking good for you, friend. It's going to hurt as well. 12 damage this go. An extra armour. This is pretty much good game. He's going to go straight for me. Straight down my neck. In the knowledge that there's not much I can do back to him. And he's elected not to attack, which is interesting. The Young Priestess will buff my minion by 1. That's not going to do me many huge favours. This is where it hurt, because I could have zapped him twice and taken it away. Now I'm going to have to do not the most fantastic of trades. Well, he can't kill me right away. And the Young Priestess keeps my Sea Giant in the game. He can do 5. The Molten Giant. I'm going to have to trade for directly. If I was him, I'd probably trade my Murloc for my Priestess, but he should see that I'm just going to trade for that Giant. Next go anyway. I think the smart play would be, yes, him just doing a bit more damage to me. That's also a smart play because he keeps his Murloc on the table. And he can afford to take the damage. Well, if I don't do this I lose. So that's a compulsory play. I can trade the Murloc with my Fireball and I can drop a Water Elemental. So this is back to the wall, last chance saloon type stuff. And it's quite nice getting down to the final stages of a game as well. You've actually seen from me tonight a couple of longer games of Hearthstone. Very rare that you can have a game that's going on for 20 minutes or so. It's probably more likely to happen in an arena game just because there's a bit more randomness going on. Right, I can certainly trade, that's no problem. I can drop my Iron Beak Owl, there's no silencing really that I need to do. But, well. You are silenced even though you've already used your battle cry. And I need to keep the damage off myself because I've only got 5 health. So this now becomes a game of what is Mr. Warrior friend of ours going to draw, and what am I going to draw? Oh great. That's not so bad to draw. being perfectly blunt, this looks as though the end is nigh for our intrepid Jaina Proudmore, but with an arcane intellect and drawing 2 cards, there's Flame Strike. So at least I can clear the table in a bit. And given that I've got nothing else to do, I just need to see if he has a magic do 5 damage. Play minion. Yes. Odds of me flame striking next go 100%. 1-to-1. Whatever you want to call it. And that's a shame because War Golem would be very helpful, but I think I just need to keep the pain off the table as much as I can. At this stage, if I don't trade, 5 health is just going to disappear. And he's decking out, notice. He's got 4 cards to my 6. If he gets through all of those 4 cards to 0, first turn he can't draw, 1 damage. Second turn, 2 damage. Third turn, 3 damage. You get the picture. Ouch! It's not a bad card to top deck. It's now a stalling game. So, an extra flame strike in my pocket. I will take all day long. And I've now got my 7/7 down, so I can start swinging away at him, depending on what that enemy card is. And if it's nothing he can really use, he's going to armor up. Ouch. Another 4 damage. Because that's got charge. That's a nice little charge, that Cork on Elite. He just needs to do 1 damage to me, pals. So this is really in the hands of the gods. If he draws 1 card with charge, it could be a Murloc. And I'm done. If he doesn't, I could win in 2 turns. Your move, warrior. What is it? Oh, is that going to hurt my... Okay. Those 2 spells let me clear the field and swing away again. Come on. He's almost out of cards. And what has he drawn? Will it do 1 damage? Will it not do 1 damage? Oh, and he can force the trade. Meaning that... Yep. 2 damage to minions and freeze. Hang on. So, let's think this. If I do 1 damage, that takes his shield off. I can then Blizzard, 2 damage and freeze, and I can swing. Now that will put me within killing range. No, it will take it. That should put me within a killing range. Here's hoping I haven't miscalculated this one. Oh, hang on. What a waste of time, because I can't attack the hero directly anyway. Error. Big error. And I even misread his attack. If I lose the game, folks, that is why. If he has execute there, I'm going to cry. Oh, you're joking me. Give your hero 4 attack this turn. And he finishes me off. All he needed to do is top deck heroic strike. How unlucky. It was a good game though. Poor Jaina. So that was a good fun game. Right down to the wire. And this arena run is not looking too good. I've gone on a lot longer on draft than I originally anticipated, but that was 2 pretty interesting games. So I'm going to be signing out now. It became a Hearthstone hour rather than a Hearthstone half hour. So thanks very much for tuning in. I'm going to be trying to do this every night from now on. So if you want to find out what's going on, jump onto Twitter. You can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/failcraftcasts. You can find the Hearthstone hour also on YouTube at failcraftcast. And if you're on YouTube and like to see this live, you can see us on Twitch. And that's twitch.tv/failcraftcast. Due to my inability to speak, it's been a long day, so I'm going to tune out. Thank you very much for tuning in, and next episode we'll finish off this draft, take a look more at Mage. I will show you, if you've been following this series, the first actual draft in Arena, so you can have a look at how Arena works in the early game, how we can try and put a deck together. We'll see how that deck does, and then what we meant to get onto this evening, have a little bit of a look at the Paladin deck. I've been playing Priest and Mage. Mage is the Force deck in the tutorial, and then Priest just because I used to play a Priest in vanilla World of Warcraft back in the day, and it's been pretty fun. It's also quite interesting in that it's one of the major cheesy, very strong decks at this time, very good in the metagame. But having seen Artosis kick some ass at BlizzCon with a Paladin deck, I'm sure a lot of people are inspired to give it a similar go. We're going to be trying to do it, but on a budget, so with a lot less of the cards that are available to him. Thanks very much for tuning in. Really good to hear from you, and I really hope to see you again soon. Take it easy.